Hey guys, Dan Holland here from SolutionToolbox.com. In this video series, we're going to build a complete website from start to finish using SiteBuilder. So to get started here, I have a mock-up image of our website. This is what we're going to build. Now the first thing that we have to do when we create a site in SiteBuilder is define a layout. Now what is a layout? Well, a layout kind of pulls everything together from your website, almost like a blueprint. It tells the website where to put the menu, where to put the content, where to put the footer, and so on and so forth. So here on our image, I'm going to kind of show you a little preview of how you got to think when you're designing the layout. Instead of looking at the website as one big picture, you have to look at it in smaller parts. So let me grab a highlight tool here. So I see this in 5 or 6 basic parts, this template here. So let me highlight them for you. The first piece I see is the logo, which is right up top here. I also see a navigation area. Right below that, I see where we're going to have an image rotator. Further down, I see where we're going to have a jQuery like scrolling area here. Below that is where my main content is going to be. And then finally at the bottom is where I'm going to have my footer. So we have to look at the website in these multiple parts like this. So in order to do that, let me switch over here to SiteBuilder and we'll go ahead and get started creating that layout. So I'm here on the dashboard and I'm going to want to come up to Manage Layouts. This will allow me to see all my layouts, and of course I don't have any yet, so I'm going to go ahead and click the Add New Layout button. And from here we'll give our layout a name, so we'll call this the default layout. And we'll go ahead and select the Create Layout button. Now this will take us over to the layout editor. Where basically you can see we have a WYSIWYG editor here, we have a couple modules up top here, and we can manage our CSS and our images over here to the left hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And back over here I'm going to take a look at this. What I like to do before I start is kind of map everything out in my head or on a piece of paper just so I know what the layout's going to look like. And I've done that here. So you can see the different zones that I'm going to have to put on the site. Now a template can have a header zone, a footer zone, navigation zone, content zone, and a custom zone. Now most of these are just organized just so they're easier to follow, but really a header zone, a footer zone, and a custom zone are all interchangeable. They can be used multiple times across the site. You can have as many as you like. So for example, you could have a header at the top and a header at the bottom. They really don't need to be used as headers. They're just more for naming. So let me take a look back over here again. The next thing I want to show you is these dashed lines. I kind of represent by the divs and spans that I'm going to create on my header. Now you can also use tables if you like, but in this example I am going to use CSS only to build the layout. So let me bring that back over here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add the logo area. So I'm going to click up here and drag the custom zone right out here onto the screen. Below that I'm going to add our navigation. Drag that right up there so we can see those two. Now right now they're below each other because I haven't added the divs, but you can see here in my layout, once I'm done with this, they will be right next to each other, but that's okay for right now. So below my menu zone I'm going to have the rotator area, which will also be a custom zone, so I'm going to drag another one out. Let's take a look at this again. So below my rotator I have another custom zone that I'm going to use for the jQuery area, so let's drag that out. Below that, I'm going to have my main content area, so I'm going to drag the main content area out. And then finally at the bottom, I'm going to have my footer area. So there's my web layout. This is the, like I said, the blueprint for our website. So before we do anything else, I'm going to come up here and hit the Save button just so we don't lose anything. And from here, we can go ahead and start defining the CSS to really manipulate this like how we need.